recording. Our divisional round playoff picks for the NFL. Had a few weeks off there, but we are back. First and foremost, episode 6 of For the Banter is out on Apple and Spotify. Our year-end review awards, some great awards. Curry is a guest on that. Picks our fakest season award. Also nominated for our fraud of the year and our best banter award. So he's all over it. It's a great listen. If you haven't yet, you're psychotic. So that's my plug for episode 6.
Curry he angrily texted both of us when that episode dropped. Why didn't you let me defend my case for fraud of the year? So if he wants to, I'll give him the floor because there's only 4 games in the slate. Feel free to take it in any direction you want to, but the floor is yours.
No, I mean, my biggest gripe was at the end, just like throwing in that shitting on me for sports betting, because you went on a rant earlier in the episode about Big Cat and part of my take about how he has fake sports bets and is basically working with Vegas, colluding with Vegas to make Barstool Sportsbook money.
That's a fact.
I have no such agreement. So when I give shit picks, like I am that is my money that I'm betting. Like, so that's why, if anything, I'm doing the opposite.
You're saying, altruistic.
I'm saying, hey, fade these picks. They stink, and then people profit. So I think if you faded me this season, you definitely profited. So
you're in the positive. I have to calculate the total. I was right around 500. We're all right around 500 because it's fucking Vegas. But
if you went double units on locks and faded me, then you are definitely
you lost
positive.
money on this podcast heavily.
Mortal locks. Yeah. No, I saw your FanDuel statements. I'm not going to give numbers. I was shocked at how even you were based off of prior destruction and bad beats. So good job by you there. Good job by you to not be down too badly, but let's see how this week goes. And
it's actually a shocking amount if you ever look at that and see how much you've actually wagered. You know what I mean? Like aggregate.
I mean, it's disgusting. Yeah, we're degenerate.
The amount of money that I've just wagered, and again, you just win it back, so you don't actively realize that you're betting thousands of dollars in a span of several months, but
also, if you're a big future guy, that probably looks really bad if you're big on futures and stuff.
Oh, because you're just automatically down until that hits.
Yeah,
but Curry survives another week in conclusion.
Yes. Yeah. So the way we're going to structure this
another week.
The way we're going to structure this, only 4 games. I think we'll do NFL headlines first, then jump into our games, and then other sports headlines. I know Jesse's going to go off the rails for other sports headlines.
Actually, if my internet shuts off, it's because the Sixers didn't cover, or it's because the Sixers covered 13.5 that first game.
Horrendous. The worst cover of the year. Dakota Mathias ruined your life.
Tyrese Maxey went on an 8-0 run in the last minute of the game by himself.
Horrendous. All right,
we'll start NFL headlines with Eagles firing Doug Peterson on Saturday. There were 7 head coaching jobs open. 3 have been filled. We'll get into those filled vacancies, but first, initial thoughts on Eagles firing Doug Peterson. I think he was the scapegoat. I know Jesse agrees with me on this. It was more the front office, and he's definitely an above-average coach. I don't think you can really argue against that. It's just a matter of if you think he's the big difference maker, which you guys can get more into.
Yeah, so my initial thoughts was it's a sad end to a sorry episode. You have an owner who made 1 good coaching hire Doug was also a great hire. So he's made 2 great coaching hires, only hired Doug Peterson because Andy Reid told him to hire him. The Chip Kelly hire was a complete disaster. These 2 Nimrods try to be the smartest guy in the room every time. Look at Howie Roseman drafting Jalen Reagor, a pick before Justin Jefferson. Dare I say the greatest rookie receiver of all time. Just absolutely abhorrent drafting by Howie Roseman. Jeff Lurie thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. I think he has old-timers disease. He's getting up there in age. He's just a walking look at who they're interviewing. Gerard Mayo. That guy's a linebacker.
Todd Bowles would be so funny. That the content for me would just be unreal if they actually hired Todd Bowles as that coach.
The candidates are disgusting. Hopefully they salvage Eric Bieniemy. Hopefully Andy Reid puts in a good word. That would be welcomed, but I just don't think they're going anywhere with this roster due to Howie Roseman. And let me give a quick shout out to Jeff Lurie for the worst press conference in Philly sports history. Dare I say it? He said that don't expect to win for the next 2 seasons. We sold out for a Super Bowl. Bro, you signed the worst contracts I've ever seen. You signed Deshaun Jackson to a 3-year deal.
It's like
that
after
guy
the Super Bowl.
Stole
After
money.
the Super Bowl.
Exactly. This was after the Super Bowl. You're signing these horrendous money stealers. Sue me if you want, but I'm going to call it like it is. Just disgusting. I'm disgusted by this franchise. This is going nowhere quickly. We're tanking. Hopefully the coach is going to be a good tanker. That's my only hope.
I'm going to say, my only rebuttal to that would be probably the worst Philly sports interview since AI practice.
At least that was iconic, though.
Yeah, that was iconic.
That aged well. That aged well. But
yeah.
At the time, it was terrible.
What about Bryce Harper? I'm going to bring a title to DC. That was pretty good.
Slip of the tongue. We'll give him a pass there.
Yeah.
But yeah, in conclusion, screw everyone.
Yeah, no, I'm basically right there with Jesse on this take that Doug was a scapegoat, and that again, like if you want to say then like that like he's not a good fit, well, even Sam said like he's definitely an above average head coach. So like in what situation is an above average head coach like a bad fit in your system? Like I just don't understand. Like if he's a good coach, then why can't we make it work? Oh, it's because you're incompetent and you sign him no talent to work with? Oh, that's why. Okay. So let's get rid of the coach then, because that's the problem. Like what the fallacy in that is just unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, and again, moving forward, just like, again, it looks like Wentz is going to be our guy, which is fine, I guess. I don't really know. I don't know, man.
It's just a bad situation.
And I think, I'm going to go on a limb here. I think that's something that people don't say enough when they're talking about sports takes. They just say, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. You ever hear Colin Coward say
that? Doesn't get headlines.
No, you don't.
You can't. That's the.
No, it doesn't get headlines.
That's the brave take. Yeah. I
what do you
appreciate that.
What do you look at? What do you think about the Eagles next year? I don't fucking know, man. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
In terms of head coaching candidates, I can't even provide you with a take right now, other than please not Adam Case.
No takes at this time. They're not going to take Adam Case.
We're in the spin zone. We're on
to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati.
Exactly.
Whoever we play week 1, we're on to them.
Segueing into head coach openings, there were 7. There are now 4. The 3 were filled. 2 yesterday, being Thursday, and 1 today, being Friday. First one was Urban Meyer around like lunchtime yesterday. It's becoming. I mean, it's very polarizing. I'm going to say. I don't think there's one bit either way that's particularly prevailing. At first, I saw a ton that's like it's not going to work. He's a college coach. Now I'm seeing everyone saying he's a true head coach. They're going to kill it. I think he'll do well. I mean, that was in my opinion the best job out there. I know you could argue the Chargers, but that whole them being in the same stadium as the Rams thing is a whole disaster and having no fans. I don't think Jacksonville's great, but he has established himself in Florida in that area. They have some young talent, and they have Trevor Lawrence coming in and a ton of cap space. So it's going to be hard for him to fail there. I think he's going to get more than just the baseline 2 years. I think it's going to be at least a 3 to 5 year thing before we see how he's really doing there. So I like the hire. Jesse, I know you're not a big fan.
Yeah, my 30 seconds on Urban. This guy's every situation he's ended in, it's ended ugly. So when he was at Florida, he had like some sort of like health thing with his heart, but that turned out to be somewhat fake. In terms of him not actually ever having any sort of health incident on the actual sidelines, but he cited that health incident to get out of his Florida contract and then quickly pivot to Ohio State. So Florida fans are pissed off about that. So I guess there's overlap between Jacksonville and UF fans. I'm sure they'll forgive him if they start winning, but that's a little weird. At Ohio State, won that national championship. You can get whatever player you want in college. We all know that Ohio State, the team was loaded with 5-star guys. Ezekiel Elliott, Michael Thomas, that team was electric. You're not going to be able to do that in the NFL. You're constrained by the cap, and I know you cited that they have one of the largest cap spaces in the NFL. They have the largest. So you can sign solid players. You can't have 5 stars all over the yard and just whipping up on every team. Urban Meyer, he needs that level of recruiting to get exactly the perfect system for him. I think the constraints of the National Football League are going to hinder him entirely, and I don't see this ending well.
Yeah, I mean, like Sam said, definitely the most appealing job just on paper, I would say, to step in and be Jacksonville's coach. You know, they got an undrafted rookie who just put up like one of the best seasons by a rookie running back, like in recent memory. I mean, he had like the most scrimmage yards of like any rookie, I'm pretty sure, like ever. And he was undrafted. Yeah. So again, falling into that situation, going to get, you know, basically a whole new offense that he can construct, which I think kind of plays to his strength because as a college coach, you're always rotating in new players and finding, you know, it's your job to find a system that works with what you have. Like Jesse said, you can go out and get anybody. And so you have the best talent available, but now like he actually does have like the best talent available in terms of getting Trevor Lawrence. So like, I think it's a good situation for him to be able to come in and sort of design this offense like from scratch. Like that's where I think the advantage lies by being a college coach, because he's had to do that before when, you know, a senior graduates and now it's all right, we have to sort of reinvent our offense. He also has, what's the deal with like his cysts like on his brain that like give him migraines?
Yeah, it's to be
Fugazi.
determined. Like there's a whole
That's
conspiracy theory. He uses these health scares to just get out of jobs and get out of contracts, but I'm not too big on that conspiracy. I don't want to get sued, so I'm not going to go too much further into that conspiracy.
I'm going to go a little bit further. Just say it's Fugazi.
On the record,
I'm on the record
sued by
saying
Urban Meyer.
That's made up. That's made up. But no, I mean
an urban legend.
It's Urban.
Pun of the Year award. Okay.
Hold on, I'm just looking at like his college coaching record right now.
Oh, he was absurd. He turned Utah into a power,
stupid.
Florida into a power, and then Ohio State kept being Ohio State.
Yeah, he never lost more than 2 games in a season with Ohio State.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Pretty dang good.
He went like 10-2 and then 12-0 with Utah.
Yes. 10-2 and 12-0 with Utah.
Got Alex Smith a contract. He made Alex Smith a beast, and he stinks.
Contract. Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's a fine hire. We'll see how it goes.
It's a fine young hire, he says. Next, we have at around the 10 o'clock hour last night, we had the Jets finally closing the deal with Robert Saleh. Biggest pro, not Adam Gase. Biggest con, my dad's never going to be able to pronounce his name. But yeah, this is a guy I saw last year when the Niners were one of the best teams in the NFL, and I was like, how is this guy not a head coach yet? He's like young, he's brings the hype. And then they were like, he did well with them all getting injured this year. I was just surprised he wasn't hired last year, so that kind of like made me write him off for future jobs. So I didn't even think about him until he started coming up for the Jets, and I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, the guy seems like he commands the building, brings the hype, which is huge. It's the anti-Adam Gase, Todd Bowles effect, more of a Rex Ryan side in that sense. I don't think he's going to be as brash and make bold predictions and such. But yeah, seems like he's a meatball. Seems like a big football guy, and I like the hire. I trust Joe Douglas, so it's hard for me to put anything bad against him unless he hired like Marvin Lewis or something. So that's how I feel about that.
So my 30 seconds on Robert Saleh. You can clearly tell he's a leader of men. He brings the energy. He's not going to get pushed around by an NFL locker room. That was my big gripe with Joe Brady. He's like a 31-year-old pushover. He's going to get his ass kicked by the veterans in an NFL locker room. Robert Saleh is not going to mess around. He's huge. He's jacked. He looks like he belongs at Karma on Seaside Heights.
Yeah, how did he not play in the NFL? That's like the biggest upset.
2009. Yeah, I mean, he should have probably played in the NFL.
He's a beast.
Yeah, for sure. But my one thing I would say about this hire is I'm always weary of the defensive hire, because anytime you get an offense with any momentum whatsoever, your offensive coordinator position is going to be a rolling door of new hires because they're always going to be poached. Whereas your head coach, if he's an offensive-minded individual, he's going to have his system installed as long as he's the head coach. So that would be my only gripe, but I'm a fan of Robert Saleh.
that is a fair gripe, but I also think there are plenty of examples of defensive guys who, if they are the right person, just changing the culture and it doesn't matter anyway. Like the obvious or the two that stand out are Sean McDermott and Brian Flores, where it doesn't really matter what they're necessarily bringing in under him, but they're changing the culture. So I don't hate it just because he's a defensive guy. Obviously, if he fails, he fails, but I don't think that'll be the reason necessarily why.
Right. What do you think about the quarterback situation before I give my Saleh take?
Everyone seems to think they're keeping Darnold now. Again, I trust in Joe Douglas, so if it were me, I would take Justin Fields with the second pick. I think he's got an absolute cannon and guys that has all the tools that you need in a modern quarterback. And I really like they also brought in Mike LaFleur as the offensive coordinator with Robert Saleh, which I like. Younger brother,
Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, younger brother of Matt LaFleur. So if everyone's like, why would you bring in a good offensive coordinator that's going to take him? Like, if he gets to the point where he's going to get hired by someone else, and the team's doing pretty well, so like, relax.
For real.
Yeah.
No, I don't want this really smart coach because he's too smart to be a
evil
coach.
Sure.
What to be a coordinator? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I like that, but people seem to think they're keeping Darnold. I'm going to trust him whatever Joe Douglas is. It's like you said with the Eagles. I don't know, but I would take Justin Fields personally.
Right. There's a lot of moving parts for the Eagles and the Jets, but I mean, like you said, he's the anti-Gase, which I think is a huge part in changing the culture of this Jets team. Just bringing the energy and not being a fucking robot and. Like it's fine to tank, but to tank and like just being a Terminator and like unfeeling towards the players, like that's how you get a divided locker room. Like
I hate Adam Gase so much.
Yeah, that guy was high on smelling salts 24/7. I don't know how he has any brain cells left, but he was a terrible hire.
No, but I mean he defensively, like you look at what he did, like with the Niners really turning that team around. Like they kind of sucked on defense for a while. And now they're, last year they went to the Super Bowl, have had a top 5 defense the past 2 years. So the Jets definitely have a lot to work with in terms of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So if I was a Jets fan, I'd be a little excited. Again, not like Super Bowl excited, but definitely like, hey, right, we're going to win more than 2 games excited. Not like, you're not tanking anymore, I would say. I'd say this was the bottom out was last year, and now it's the ascension.
Also of note, Jaguars have the most cap space. Jets have the second most cap space. So the last hire happened right before we started recording. I don't have much to say about this. I don't expect you guys to either. Arthur Smith to the Atlanta Falcons. Only thing, I brought this up to Jesse the other day. Apparently he's the son of the founder of FedEx.
Yeah.
Crazy. The guy's like a multi-billionaire. So
Sicko.
like, instead of like having his dad buy him a football team as a birthday present, he decided to go through the coaching ranks, which is a pretty cool thing. So that's my whole Arthur Smith bit. I'm sure I don't really know too much more. I mean, he had Derrick Henry, so he might be a fraud, but good for the Falcons, I guess.
10 seconds on Arthur Smith. Falcons are a cursed franchise since the worst Super Bowl collapse ever. I think that franchise is a giant black hole. Matt Ryan, meh. Julio Jones, downward side of his career. Arthur Smith had some of the best skill position guys in the NFL at Tennessee. It's going to be a hard job for him, but we'll wish him the best. And if not, he'll have the FedEx job to fall back on.
Right.
I mean, you talk about talented skill positions, like the Falcons have talent, especially in the offensive side of the ball. Like, yeah, Julio's getting older, but he's still an absolute beast. Calvin Ridley's a beast. Matt Ryan has shown flashes of being good, but when he's not good, he really sucks. So, I mean, I guess they have that to figure out, like coming up the pike, like replacing him if he continues to slump. But yeah, don't have many takes other than that. Like Jesse said, I mean, the Titans also had really good skill position players. So like where your offensive game plan is, hey, we're going to hand the ball off to Derrick Henry 30 fucking times. Like,
Todd Gurley, let's go.
And we're going to score 40 points that way. It's like, oh, okay. Like it makes the job pretty easy. Like, to be fair.
There's some ladies in nursing homes who have more knees than Todd Gurley. Like 90-year-old ladies can say that they have less knee pain than Todd Gurley.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. You could just rent a running back. Get Frank Gore. Has he played for the Falcons yet?
That
Get
was
Frank
good.
Gore.
We
Get
need
Frank
IT.
Gore in a Falcons uniform.
Intern
Yeah.
will get back to you on that, but I want to say no. Disgraceful. Frank Gore, Jesus.
That's what you need now. That's what you get Frank Gore when you're about to bottom out.
Yeah,
As a
for sure.
franchise.
The greatest tank back ever.
He's gonna play with it. He's gonna play till he plays.
He'll be in
with
the
his son.
Hall of
That's
Fame
definitely
and he's
what's
labeled
happening.
as a tank back now. It's
Yeah.
really funny. Oh, God.
All right, so that's our head coaching carousel. Right before our picks, I just want to talk about Deshaun Watson real quick. Not Deshaun Jackson. Fuck him. Deshaun
Never
Watson.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson wants out at all costs. Every former Texan in their history, they've only been around since 2002. All their key players in their history are just absolutely shitting on them. It's kind of funny from an outside perspective. I'm sure if you're a Houston fan, you're like, all I had was Deshaun Watson. Now he wants to leave. I mean, I wouldn't trade him.
Hopkins.
I don't think there's much you can get for him that would reclaim the value of Deshaun Watson, but because I think he's probably the fourth best quarterback in the NFL. We can get to our quarterback rankings in the offseason when we're scrounging up content, but so I think Deshaun Watson. I mean, we had a discussion. I would trade him for the number 1 pick. I don't know if the Jacksonville would do that. I think Dolphins and Niners are like the ones that are coming out. I would hold on to him as long as you possibly can, but that's my take on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, this all goes back to Bill O'Brien just absolutely gutting this team, a once promising team. People forget this team was up 24-0 on Kansas City last year. We're almost a year from that game. That was a historic collapse. Clearly the roster has talent. Bill O'Brien ruined. I mean, if you're a Houston sports fan, what do you have to live for? James Harden gone.
You have the
Deshaun
asterisks,
out,
yeah.
the asterisks. Just a sad situation. And I always go anti-player whenever they want out, but in this case, I'll side with Deshaun because it's such a miserable situation. And I know his owners established a horrible culture there. He had like a pretty shady quote. It was like, you can't let the inmates run the prison when they were like negotiating CBAs or something. It was like, damn, that's a way to isolate your players for sure. But the culture's shitty. Bill O'Brien was shitty. I don't even know. Romeo Crennel is like 90 years old, and this team's going nowhere quick. So Deshaun, get out of there. As long as you don't go to the Cowboys, get out of there.
Yeah, to your point, I'm usually partial to siding with management as well versus like a disgruntled player. Like, you know, you look at James Harden, like that whole situation was absolute bullshit. Like,
we'll get there.
Fucking play basketball.
Oh,
yeah,
we'll get there.
But like, I think that when you see a player as talented as Deshaun, and you see like the trajectory of their career and how it's going to go with the Texans moving forward, and it's just going to waste away. Like even JJ Watt like can see that. He's like, yo, like we're straight up wasting your career right now.
I know. Did you see that NFL films clip? He was like, I'm sorry, bro. We just wasted your career.
And Deshaun's like, dude, you're wasting your freaking time too. Like, so I think if you're the Texans, you just go full rebuild. You get a bunch of picks for him if you can. Because what is you see what having Deshaun Watson and nothing else gets you? It gets you nowhere. Like, so I think you blow it up.
Blow it up. All right. Let's get into picks real quick. No one cares about this part, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
There is NFL playoffs going on. First game is at 4:35 tomorrow. We have the Los Angeles Rams at the Green Bay Packers. Packers are 6.5-point favorites. Curry, I'm going to steal it from you right away. Mortal lock, Green Bay Packers -6.5. I've had this prevailing theory that the NFC West are frauds. I think that the Rams have the lowest points per game given up against. They gave up like 9 points to the Giants, like 18 points to the Eagles, 17 points to the Cowboys. Like that inflated their numbers heavily. Aaron Donald will be back. Jalen Ramsey will be on Devontae Adams, but Green Bay Packers are an extremely good football team. People still have that sour taste in their mouth from last year when they were kind of frauds. Different team this year. Green Bay Packers -6.5.
Yeah, so this is going to be one leg of my Mortal Lock teaser. Teasers are treating me very good this playoffs, and by that, I've hit one teaser. I placed one teaser, I hit it, so teasers are treating me great.
1 out of 1? Okay.
So we're not going to go the full 6-point traditional tease here. We're going to tease this down to 2.5. We're going to buy 4 points, and then another game I'm going to buy 5 points. We'll get to that later. But if I'm going to just pick a line right now, it's going to be the Packers minus 6.5. My only concern is that LaFleur and McVay have a lot of history together. Same coaching staff under the Redskins.
Yeah, they're best friends.
Now the Washington football team.
Yeah. You think McVay's got his green notebook? It's got all his
I was going to say, like, they both know the plays they're running. So, like, maybe he does, like, some ninja mind trick shit and, like, they keep the game close. I still think Green Bay wins. But because of I'm scared it's going to be a close game factor, I'm going to do buy in the points. But just to pick a side here, I'm going 6.5.
For Green Bay?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Green Bay as well. I know. We're going solidarity. It's terrible. Off the rip, we're going solidarity. But, yeah, I actually really like 6.5. If it was like 7.5, I'd be very nervous. Just because the Packers haven't done a very great job of covering down the stretch, especially when it's been more than a touchdown. There's 2 weeks in a row where 7.5 they didn't cover. They won by 7, the other one by like 4. So I'm hoping that, like you said, with the bad taste in their mouth from last year, where they didn't really get the offense going until late in the game, I'm hoping that they just come out firing because the Rams, I don't see them being very successful trailing and having to rely on Jared Goff's robotic thumb to get him back in the game. So
right.
Let the record show Sean McVay benched Goff for Wolford. My sources say he was completely ready to go. He could have played that game, but he thought Wolford was the better option. So McVay's confidence in Goff is at rock bottom. Take that as you wish.
I mean, he won the game, so.
Goff stinks. So we're all taking the Green Bay Packers. I'm mortal locking Packers at 6.5. Jesse putting the Green Bay Packers in his tease lock at minus 2.5. That's correct?
Correct.
And then Curry also taking the Packers.
Disgusting.
Next we have Saturday night. Baltimore Ravens at Buffalo Bills. I feel like I've been harsh on the Buffalo Bills this year. They are legitimately one of the 5 best teams in football. Can confidently say that. May or may not be the best team in the AFC. But I still like the Ravens here, unfortunately. Plus 2.5. But I think that this is part of the necessary metamorphosis of elite teams. They need to get this punch in the mouth in the playoffs and get the exposed label before they come back and do it the next year. Happened with the Chiefs when they lost to the Patriots. Happened with the Ravens last year when they lost to the Titans. I think the Ravens got that monkey off their back by winning their playoff game. Bills did not impress me last week. I think they're not quite ready for the big stage. They'll win the Super Bowl next year. Remember that I picked the Ravens here at plus 2.5 when they win the Super Bowl next year. But for now, Baltimore Ravens plus 2.5. Low scoring game. I'm going to take the under 49 on this. Just as a personal bet, not anything on the record, but I think it's gonna be smash mouth football. Apparently, it's supposed to snow, so
love that.
Baltimore plus 2.5.
So I'm seeing the lines all over the place. I've seen it at -3. I've seen it at 2.5. Good to hear that our official for the Banter line is 2.5. I will be going with Buffalo. I only take teams at plus 2.5, plus 1.5, plus 1 if I think they could win. I'll never take that.
Oh yeah, I want to pick winners also. I'm picking Ravens as a winner.
So you would have to money line that if you're just a fool if you're taking plus 2.5. You want to definitely money line that for sure. But since I don't think the Ravens can win this game, I'll concede that Buffalo's going to have to win this by a field goal. If they win by 1 or 2, I'll be so pissed. But I just think this team had. They had their get right game. I mean, the get right game is when you blow out a team, but they had their we need to get ready for the playoffs game last week. Colts should have won that game. They kind of pulled it out of their ass, but I think they're ready for anything now.
They messed up so many times.
It was horrendous, and this is where analytics go bad. Frank Reich, God bless you, but some of the questionable coaching decisions definitely had an impact on the game. I think the Ravens played one of their best games of the year. Lamar had a 45-yard run and a 35-yard run. It's going to be tough for him to repeat that performance on a questionable track. And I don't trust the other weapons on that team to do anything if he can. So give me the Buffalo Bills 2.5.
I'm also going to go with the Bills. So earlier this week, after the weather report came out, they were asking Lamar Jackson about the potential of playing in snow and asked him what his experience was with the snow. He responded with 0 experience. Never got to play in the snow. Said, except my first time seeing snow in Louisville, we had a snowball fight. So that's totally different from playing in it. But yes, definitely would be my first time playing football in the snow. If it does. Hopefully it doesn't. So I'm going to go with the Bills. Even if it doesn't snow. But let's be real. Lamar Jackson doesn't play well in the cold either way. I just don't see the Ravens stopping the Bills offense. Bills offense is firing right now. Josh Allen is a man possessed, just throwing absolute bombs to Stephon Diggs. I mean, I feel like that was really what he needed. You know, like the meme where it's the guy and he's like made out of puzzle pieces and he's holding the last piece and it's like the back of his head. You know what I'm talking about?
No clue.
Verbal memeing right now. And it's like, sometimes all you need is one piece. And it's like, you know, it's the guy and he's made out of puzzle and he's like facing away. In the back of his head, there's one last puzzle piece and he's holding it.
I can see what you're talking about.
And it's like 4 to 6 beers or something. And it
so
says
this is Josh Allen?
This is Josh Allen. And the puzzle piece that he's holding is like an actually good fucking receiver. And that's Stephon Diggs. So like somebody to actually stretch the field. And then again, he works with his legs. I think Lamar will have a good game on the ground, but like, I don't think they're going to be able to throw the ball at all. So if the Bills get up early, it could get out of hand fast. So give me the Bills.
Okay, so I'm taking the Ravens. You both are taking the Bills. I'm early taking the Bills to win the Super Bowl next year.
Can you bet on that shit?
Probably. I mean, we only have 8.5 minutes left. We need to re-rack this, but we have Sunday early game, Cleveland Browns at Kansas City Chiefs. Everyone's trying to big brain the Browns for an upset here. Not going to happen. My Kansas City Chiefs, I think they're winning the Super Bowl. Bold take, right? But it is hard to win back-to-back. So if they don't look good this week, I might need to falter on that and go to my backup plan, which is the Packers. But Chiefs are 10-point favorites here. I don't like that line at all. I'll tentatively take the Chiefs. I think that they are gonna bop stick in this one. They've had Patrick Mahomes hasn't played in like 3 weeks. People think it's gonna be rust. I think he's gonna be fine. So give me the Chiefs -10 here.
Good live bet candidate, I think. I think the Chiefs go down early, much like the Titans scare last year. Or sorry, the Houston scare last year. So if they go down, I am hammering the Chiefs if it ever gets to a plus money line. Whenever that moment hits, I will be texting both of you saying we're all putting the mortgage consensus live betting the Chiefs there. But I think the Chiefs roll when it's all said and done. Cleveland, their Super Bowl was last week. Emotional high. They were going crazy in the locker room. I don't know if the focus is going to be there. I know they have a lot of injury concerns, especially in the offensive line. Chiefs defense is competent enough to at least not give up 1 million points like Pittsburgh did. And this is going to be part of the second leg of my Mortal Lock teaser. I'm going to take this down to 5.5. So I'm going to buy 4.5 points. This will get you Buffalo -2.5, Chiefs -5.5, plus 108 payout, my Mortal Lock. But I'm also choosing the Chiefs -10 here.
I'm going to go with the Browns. I don't think that they win. I think, again, the big brain is like, like, don't sleep on the Browns. Like, no, sleep on the Browns. But I think that you saw last week how they jumped out to what? Was it 27-point lead or 28-point lead?
28, yeah. The first play of the game went over into the end zone.
That's what I mean. And, like, the Steelers, and even after that happened, the Browns were never really comfortable. Like, even watching that and, like, I moneyline the Browns, I was never comfortable. With a 28-point lead, I was not comfortable. Mm-hmm. So I think if you're a Browns fan and if you're anyone in the Browns organization, like, you can't be comfortable with the lead. Because I agree. I think that the Browns go up and then the Chiefs just, like, hunt them down methodically throughout the game. And the Browns are just – they set themselves up for a tremendous letdown. For losing in tremendous fashion. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a close game. And then Patrick Mahomes is going to do Patrick Mahomes things at the end and just rip the heart out of the entire city of Cleveland. So I think it's going to be close, but the Chiefs will pull it out at the end. And then the city of Cleveland collectively suicide afterwards.
No, they're
All
so
our Cleveland
fine.
listeners out there.
No, the high of beating the Steelers is just not going to wear off that quickly. Like, I don't think they're. I'm sure
That's
they
what
care.
I'm saying. And that was their Super
Yeah.
Bowl. I think they'll
You
be
know what?
content.
You know what I think is going to be. You know what I think it's going to be.
What?
Write this down in pen. Cody
Go.
Parkey.
Oh,
It's
now they're
gonna come
double
down to
doink.
him. And that's going to be I mean,
Triple
again,
doink.
I'm following Big Cat
Triple.
on this take of it's going to come down to a big Cody Parkey kick that he's not going to make, but like it's written in the stars right now.
Yeah, don't hate that take at all. Cody Parkey's ass. So
He's let me down before.
So Jesse and I taking the Chiefs. Chiefs -5.5, part of Jesse's tease lock. And Curry taking the Cleveland Browns at +10, but the Chiefs to win the game. So we're all taking the Chiefs to win the game. Last game is Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. Oh man, Saints are 3-point favorites. I hate this game. I don't want to pick it at all because it is the old old adage. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. I guarantee Tom Brady's never lost to a team 3 times in his career, in the same season. But we have to follow the narrative that we create for ourselves that Tampa Bay Buccaneers are pub stompers. This is the swan song for the Saints. They can't go out like this. They're $90 million over the cap next year. They're going to lose Drew Brees. Drew Brees is like locked into his NBC contract for after the Super Bowl next year, so he has to retire either after this year or the next year. Yeah, him and Tariq
to
are taking
replace
over
who?
for
Collinsworth?
Michaels and
the second
Collinsworth.
crew on
It's going to be
NBC.
Tariq and Brees.
Wow, gotcha. So like 5 years down the line.
So
Gotcha.
I don't think New Orleans can go out like this. It's going to be it would be a beautiful matchup to see them play the Packers in the NFC Championship game. Give me the Saints -3.
Yeah, whenever a matchup is so even like this in the 3-time factor, I always go with the points here. And you know my rule of thumb, I don't take anything +3 or below. I always go money line. So we'll be money lining Tampa Bay here. I think Tampa Bay just has some sort of juice in them. I think the Green Bay or Chicago Bears, that game was closer than it appeared. It was just drop touchdown, shenanigans, Mitchell Trubisky doing dumb shit. I don't think the Saints are trending in the right direction. So I'll take the upset here, and then we'll get that Rodgers-Brady matchup at least one more time. The NFL script writers would love to see that. So
True.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a Rodgers-Brady or a Rodgers-Breeze, I think that's fantastic content either way. Put it on Nickelodeon, get in the slime zone.
love that shit.
We'll talk about that later.
That demographic for that, we're definitely 24-year-old assholes like us.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
actually,
I need to get my
yes.
take on that. So run through your pick quick. I have definitely have a take on that.
Give me the Saints. I think Kamara's better than the Bucs run defense. Bucs run defense was really good for the first half of the year. Against elite running backs like Kamara, I just don't think that they're going to be able to stop him. He's freaking on a roll right now. Breeze has enough in the tank to get it done. Antonio Brown is locker room cancer. Gronk is still going to have a touchdown, though, so definitely place a prop on that. Saints -3.
Jesse, hold off on the Nickelodeon for 1 second. We're going to have to re-rack real quick.
Oh, shit. We're going extended bits.
So I am taking the what is it? This New Orleans Saints. Curry, you're also taking the Saints?
Yep.
So Curry and I taking the Saints, Jesse taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So those are our picks for the divisional round. I'm sure they'll all hit because we're geniuses. So little post headlines. We think it's going to be strictly the NBA. I could be wrong about that. Jesse has anything else to talk about? But
the floor is me, or you have some stuff.
So the Brooklyn Nets traded for James Harden yesterday. Traded pretty much everything they had. They now have 3 of the top 15 players in the league, 2 of the top 5 probably, top 6-ish. I don't know, something around there. So who would have thought that Kevin Durant would be the 3rd most emotional player on any basketball team? So Kyrie's still missing in action. No one knows where he is. He's kind of showing up to Zoom birthday parties and actual birthday parties and all sorts of stuff. Probably like burning sage somewhere, getting rid of demons or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's an interesting situation. James Harden ate his way out of Houston. Just was kind of a dick about the whole thing. You sign a long-term contract, so you don't end up doing that kind of stuff. But I guess he felt betrayed by the front office and such. But Jesse, let's get into your bits.
Couple bits here. Kyrie Irving is quickly running up the fraud rankings as one of the biggest frauds in athletics today. I think the guy is just an attention-seeking whore. I think he's hypnotized his fans to consider everything as a mental health crisis. So whenever Kyrie skips out on practice, whenever Kyrie doesn't attend a game, he's somehow scammed his dumb, unintelligent fan base to vouch for him, saying, oh, this is a mental health thing. Bro, he is just angry that the front office didn't console him on the James Harden trade. He's just bitter that I guess he's bitter that he's just not fit. Like, he's not the face of the franchise. I think he's bitter about KD somehow, but you knew what you were getting into. So Kyrie, just a massive fraud.
I think that he like doesn't like all the protocols and stuff, which I mean, they are playing under a lot of like scrutiny and stuff, but he had 10 months off. He hadn't played since
you didn't go to the
February
bubble.
or something.
Like, you're not battling. You're not great. If I was a teammate, I would hate this guy. Like, I would never welcome him back into the locker room. You're gonna have to, because he's the alpha dog. If you're a superstar in the NBA, you just get pampered to death.
Yeah.
It's quite pathetic. And I just want to say, the NBA has been a terrible product this year. The regular season games are usually trash, but the fact that there's no fans and they're in these empty arenas, there's like, the Sixers just played the Miami Heat last night. They had 8 guys. The game was over by the second quarter. Unwatchable dreck. Add on the fact that the players are unlikable, and add on the fact that the players change teams every other day. It's just a trash product. I can't root for this. This is garbage.
Damn. Don't know how to follow that take up. In terms of outlook for the Nets, like, first of all, I love the take of championship or bust. Like, that term gets thrown out so much whenever like a team like sells assets to get a big name player. It's like, oh, like they're going all in, like championship or bust. It's like what a stupid nothing take that is. Like, every team, if you're not actively tanking, like, should be championship or bust theoretically. Like, what is
yes,
bust?
but I think specifically with them, they're in a position now where if they don't win this year or next year, they're just screwed. Like, they put themselves in that position where normally, if you say championship or bust, they still have a future ahead of them. They're screwed until like 2027 if they don't win this year or next year.
And that's what Houston's banking on. KD gets emotional. Kyrie retires from the NBA. Harden demands a trade. Houston is banking on this team going in the gutter and owning their draft for the next 10 years. Now, the jury's out on how this will work. We've never seen 3 superstars with that much of a usage rate on the same team together. I'm tending to incline that if you get the talent in the room together, they'll figure it out. But
right,
to add on like the emotional aspects of each of the players, like, that's going to be the wrinkle in this. So I'm going to take the stance of it's not going to work out.
In terms of not going to work out, like, do you think they win the East?
No.
Who wins the East?
I think either the Sixers or the Bucks win the East. I'm not going to go on the record and choose a team because I think I think I like it the way Indiana's playing. Miami's had a rough start, but there's
no way Indiana wins the East. They could be playing well. There's no way Indiana's winning.
Yeah, I mean,
I would have said the same thing about the Heat last year.
They can upset Brooklyn in a story, and they're not going to win the East, but I could see that in a series, like, they could upset Brooklyn.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll be able to grind night in and night out in the playoffs and win the East. But I can't say for sure. Like, the odds are way too inflated on Brooklyn to win the East. I would never take that bet.
I wouldn't take that bet. I think they're going to win the East, though.
But, like, KD is really, really good. Like,
he's
you have
really
to keep
good.
that in mind.
Like, he hasn't lost a step.
He's really, really good. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Like, like if he's on the floor against any team in the East, he is the best player on the floor.
Right.
Like,
Are we sure?
Yes. Yes.
with a limited sample size. I need to see him in big games. These games are
if
fake.
he stays healthy.
Limited sample
he's
size.
definitely
He's been in
top
the league
5
for a decade, man.
No, but like on the Brooklyn Nets. Like, of course, they blew out the Celtics early in the season, but all these regular season games are so fake. Take it with a grain of salt.
Yes, that's that. All right, so I will say that. Yes, all the regular season games are fake. So that's what I mean. Like, once it gets to playoffs, like, once I feel like this regular season now, because I don't want to say it's a fake regular season because the NBA regular season is fake every year, but like it's just them getting practice like together. It's basically just practice. It's basically just scrimmages for the Nets at this point. Like they're not going to miss the playoffs. Seeding really doesn't matter, like because there's no fans. So I don't know.
What I will say is we talk about how the NBA has been a bad product. I hate LeBron, or I don't hate LeBron. I dislike LeBron. I kind of hate the Nets because they have a big little brother complex that they won't get over with the Knicks, despite the Knicks being terrible. But
so rare, like being the worst team and you're still the big brother.
Yeah. They're like you're so much better than us, but you still want to talk about the Knicks. Like relax. But it would be great for the NBA if the Nets play the Lakers in the finals. That would just be a great product. You get KD and LeBron on this relatively equal playing field, and it would have meant that the Nets put it together. That would just be a great. That everyone would watch that. Let's be real. That would bring back.
And
the
I
hype
think
of the NBA
that'd be
finals.
fantastic finals.
The memes that come out of the KD championship are going to be so rich. Like, oh, you can't win it by yourself. Like they're going to say it's a fake ring, it's a snake ring. I'm looking forward to it if he does win the championship because he's already an emotional guy, and that's part of the reason why he left the Warriors was because everyone says you can't run your own team and win a title. So if he wins a title with Brooklyn and James Harden is at least at his level, maybe not he's going to be better than KD, but if he's at least at his level, the hate that he gets for that, it's going to be hilarious.
Love that. I love that take of like you can't win a ring by yourself. Oh, you had to get help to win a ring. Like who's the last player to win a ring like by being the only talented player?
I mean, you could argue Kawhi, but like the whole Warriors got injured in that. So
yeah, but like
yeah.
All right. So other than Kawhi, in which that finals was a botch and terrible, like Wilt Chamberlain, like
yeah.
Nah, you had a couple Hall of Famers. I'm not even going to give you that, but yeah, it's been years. I guess Kareem, did the Bucks ever win? He probably won.
Yeah, they won
in Milwaukee by himself. So
yeah,
it's been a while.
Either way, I'm just saying, like, oh, like Katie needed help, or like, oh, like Bron needed to team up with AD. It's like, well, yeah, look at every other fucking team.
Yeah.
Like,
Katie's extremely
that have one superstar,
unlikable.
They all suck.
I see your point. Like, yeah, you can't win this by yourself, but anytime you get to poke fun at KD, he's just extremely unlikable.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can never vouch for that. Like, I agree to your point. Like, he's obviously a Hall of Famer.
He
top
goes at
20,
it with
top
fans
30
now
of all
too. It's
time.
pretty funny.
It's like
Yeah.
you're so insecure. Like the fact that we can make you more insecure, like the natural troll that I am. That's just my bread and butter. I love doing that shit. So I'm gonna try to make him more insecure on my burner account.
All right, so very interested to see what the Brooklyn Nets will do. Do we have anything else
I'm
in the world of sports?
Golly!
Sixers missed opportunity, but the Houston Rockets owner is a schmuck. He refused to trade with Daryl Morey. He's over leveraged out of his mind. All of his businesses are failing hardcore. He's in the casino business. He's in the restaurant business. You check the headlines out. What two sectors of the economy are not doing great right now? Casinos and restaurants. So he begs politicians. He begged our president for a loan. I'm not sure if he ever got that loan, but then I think he took a PPP loan out, got so much shit for it because he's like, you're $1 billion. You're a billionaire. Why are you taking loans out? In conclusion, Tillman Fertitta, you are a scum of the earth. We have the better package. Ben Simmons is way better than Picks and Carousel. But he just
I think that was Fugazi. I sent a tweet about this. I think that was all Fugazi to get the Nets to give up as much as humanly possible. I don't think they're ever going to trade Ben Simmons. I could be wrong about that. You probably
could be wrong about that, but Tillman Fertitta, fuck off. That's my take.
No, I'm glad we didn't. I'm glad we didn't just like trade our future away for.
That's the thing. Like Brooklyn's sold out. At least the Sixers like have a 3 or 4 year window. NBA changes on a dime.
I think you have. Here's my final take on the Nets. I think you have to do that if you're the Nets. You have to kind of sell all in to win a championship because you're not going to get that many opportunities. I mean, you're the Nets. No, like this is going to happen one time in your franchise's history, and if you win the championship, that sets you up so much for the future. So you kind of have to go
I mean,
all in.
it's a gamble, and then we'll see how it plays out for him. But
yeah,
I think I think if you're the Nets, that's the right move to make. I think if you're the Sixers, it's not the right move.
Interesting take.
We shall see. We shall see.
So that's it for, I guess, divisional round. Although we talked about pretty much everything. We're going to try to get Mark back on for the conference championships next week. But that's going to put a bow on this one. Catch you guys next time.
Love you guys.